What is going on, my super sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today I bring some late line Dragon Ball FighterZ news courtesy of ShonenGames.com. As always, if you want to read the article for yourself, then check the link in the description below right now. In fact, click that link, show them some love, because they do an amazing job covering all these anime games, and the least we can do is go to their site. So go check that out. With that said, we got some news in regards to Dragon Ball FighterZ from the newest Game Informer feature. I don't remember the last time I've seen an anime game on something as a Game Informer cover. I think that might be a first. If not, correct me in the comment section below. Maybe Tenkaichi 3 covered it, or Budokai, or something way back in the day. But it's been a long time since we've seen an anime game on something as major as a Game Informer cover. With that said, since they are talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ, there are some news in regards to what's happened with the game, and I figured I'd cover all that, and again, courtesy of ShonenGames.com. According to Game Informer, this is in regards to the tutorial that we've seen in BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. According to Game Informer, the previous games such as BlazBlue and Guilty Gear featured a really in-depth tutorial because of how complex both titles are. In Dragon Ball FighterZ, however, Bandai Namco hopes to make tutorials brief and integrated into the game's story mode. Now, it's still tough to tell what that actually means, because to those who have not played BlazBlue and Guilty Gear, both of those games have really in-depth tutorials that teach you everything about the game, combos, all that good stuff, everything. And one of the big questions I've seen going around to those who did play Guilty Gear and BlazBlue is whether or not Arc System will work, and Bandai Namco were going to introduce the exact same thing in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, according to this, they seem to have a more of a brief tutorial, which I guess probably means it's just going to teach you like the basics, like the auto combos, how to do tagging and stuff like that, but not really as in depth as it was in Guilty Gear and BlazBlue. I think those parts and those combos, like the hardcore ones, will be up to the player to figure out. But again, I don't really know. For all we know, when they actually release the game, they'll have the same tutorial that we saw in Guilty Gear and BlazBlue. So for that one, we'll kind of have to wait to see what happens when the game comes out in early 2018. One of the things that I really like about this game is the community forming around it. And to those who did get a chance to participate in the beta a couple weeks ago, you probably noticed in the lobby system, which features 64-player fights, they also had a replay setup. And the way basically it works is as you fight, certain replays will get posted to the replay mode and allows other players to watch. And if you like those fights, you can basically upload them via Z-stamps. So basically, as you react to them using little stamps that were available in the beta, or I guess the final version of the game as well, it shoots the best fights to the top. So not only do you get a chance to fight with the best, but you always get to watch the best. And I think that's a really cool addition to add to the game. Speaking of community, Party Match. Now, this was briefly talked about a couple weeks ago. Party Match basically is a 6-player fight. As opposed to controlling 3 characters, you control 1. So let's say me, Afro Senju, C Reacts jump in on one team. I control Frieza, they control Cell, maybe Afro controls Boo. That's how it fights. And as we tag each other in, the next player that controls that character basically takes control of the match. I think that's a really nice touch. Now, if you don't know who you're fighting with, that could be kind of scary. And as you can see on here, basically what it says, in a party match, players will have to be alert for when they are switched in attack with a super or finish up combo. Arc System Wars Director Junior wants to add an interface with simple commands so that players can communicate with each other during battle. If a player drops out in a party match, then a match will end there. Hopefully there aren't too many salty players on either side. Now, this is the part that's kind of tricky. Now, obviously, if you're playing with friends, like I said, if I'm playing with like C Reacts and Afro Senju and other people in the squad, then it's like a lot easier to communicate because we'll be sitting on Discord or in party chat or something. It's like, hey, I'm tagging you in. Or if I want to sacrifice C Reacts, I'll tag him into a Kamehameha, yada yada yada. The point is, communication is key. However, I feel like if you play this completely at random, that's when it can get kind of hectic. And if you end up playing with those players who are just kind of like salty or whatever, and they tag you at the worst time, or they just quit, it might ruin the experience. Now, hopefully they have a much better setup than this, because I think honestly, if you get in those matches where if one player tags out and then basically quits, and that match ends, I think that's a flaw. So hopefully they have something to work better around that. But overall, the party match idea sounds really cool on paper. Also, hopefully, when they do release the game, they have some kind of feedback set up where players can suggest how to make the party match system better. Because again, I feel like it's going to be released wonky, but because how awesome Arc System works is I feel like they'll work with the players and kind of improve the experience over time. Because again, this is kind of experimental. I don't think they've ever done that as far as Arc System Works titles in the past. I mean, 6 players in a tag team brawl, it sounds insane. Clashes and flying. Now, the big question that's been always going around with any Dragon Ball game announced is, will there be beam clashes? I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is no. The other question is, what about flying? Because if you guys have noticed, they don't really have like a flight system. All they really have is like a dash, the super dash. Arc System Works has decided against clashing because it ends up being a contest of mashing buttons, which not everyone's great at. Beam struggles are one of the things that we struggle with the most as far as implementing. No pun intended on struggle, that's funny. It's very hard to make it work, but in the original source content, it's not so much a matter of technique as it is brute force. So that makes it difficult to implement the game in a way that feels fair. Button mashing speed isn't technical, it depends on the person. Some people may be good at fighting games, but they aren't good at mashing buttons and they lose, so that isn't a good game mechanic. So it's kind of like what we talked about in the past. Since Dragon Ball FighterZ is more focused on being like an actual fighting game, basically win the fight because you can button mash the fastest or spin the stick, I guess it just doesn't really make sense for that mechanic, so it's completely understandable. Now here's an interesting tidbit. Game Informer has also mentioned that flying was included in an earlier build of fighters, but was ultimately removed because it made the game less dynamic and players would probably end up in the air for a very long period of time, making a freeform fighting system prove to be very difficult in the end. Now it's kind of hard to talk about this just due to the fact that until I see it myself, I don't really know how to really judge it. But it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you see the Dragon Ball FighterZ fights, they're very intense, back and forth, super dynamic. And if they're interrupted because a player just keeps staying in the air, it could kind of throw off the balance of the fighting aspect of the game. So I understand why they decided not to include it in the end. Although it would be interesting to see what it actually would have been like, and I kind of wish they had some kind of demo to show it off. But at the same time, again, I don't really mind. Is the fact that you can free fly an issue to you guys? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Now this is the most interesting part about the entire article: choosing the right characters. When it comes to Dragon Ball, everybody wants their favorite characters, and in fact, in the comment section below, I'm going to ask the question again. If you could pick that one character that represents your favorite character from the Dragon Ball universe, who would that be for you and why? Let me know in the comment section below. When it came to selecting characters for Dragon Ball FighterZ, Bandai Namco and Arc System Works had a difficult time due to the fact that there's so many characters to choose from in the Dragon Ball series. They had a rule of thumb, however, that was to not add common characters that would anger or confuse fans, aka Frieza soldiers and stuff like that we saw in Xenoverse in past games. They chose a character that were not only popular, but allowed them some room to explore interesting gameplay concepts. Now I want to point out, by no means does that confirm 100% that we'll see Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, Hit, Beerus, Jiren, yada yada yada. However, due to the fact that they mentioned that they're kind of focusing on the popular characters and picking characters that, you know, won't necessarily piss the people off, the fan base, I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer. Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, we want that. We want Hit, we definitely want Beerus. And, you know, even going into Dragon Ball Super, going for characters like Jiren and stuff like that. So, like, there's a lot of room for characters that we love and grew up with, as well as grew up with recently with Dragon Ball Super, that we can see in this game. Whether it's going to be included day one or DLC, I feel like they know that we want certain characters. Even the older ones like Broly that I feel like have to be in the game. So the question again I want to ask you guys is, if there's that one character that you could add into Dragon Ball FighterZ before the game comes out, who would that be for you and why? Let me know in the comment section below. The thing that excites me about Dragon Ball FighterZ so much as far as how they're doing the characters is how vastly different each character actually fights. From Android 18 using 17 to even freaking someone like Tien using Chaozu, and even Yamcha's fun. Yamcha looks exciting. When was the last time we as a Dragon Ball community have been excited to play as Yamcha in a Dragon Ball game? Think about that. So that's why I'm so excited to see like what other characters they're going to add into the game and how they're going to actually give them the Dragon Ball FighterZ spin to make it so unique and different than they were, you know, compared to the other characters available in the game. So I'm excited. I'm just hoping that they're going to announce Hit or Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, or Beerus at some point, just because I want to see what they got up their sleeve as far as how these characters will actually work. So I'm excited. Now, as far as the story mode, they've been very mysterious and hush-hush about it. We don't really know anything. All we saw was there were those random clones of Goku and all the Z Warriors attacking, and of course you have Android 21, Android 21, which we still don't know much about. Bandai Namco noticed a mostly positive reception from having an original stories in the Xenoverse series, so they decided to take the same concept for Dragon Ball FighterZ. The game's story mode will take place after the events of Dragon Ball Z. Future characters announcement will reveal more about the game's story mode, and Bandai Namco urges fans to try to piece them all together and try to figure it out. Now, this is very, very important. This doesn't reveal much, but it reveals one of the most major aspects of the story mode, and the fact that it takes place after Dragon Ball Z. Now remember, right now Dragon Ball Super is taking place between the 10-year time skip of when Kid Buu was defeated to when Dragon Ball Z actually ended. So this is taking place after Dragon Ball Super. That adds a lot of room for creativity. Now this also kind of confirms that we probably will not see Dragon Ball GT in this universe, I guess, because technically GT takes place after Z if you count it as far as timeline stuff, and this is supposed to take place after Z's before GT. Maybe you might see GT characters as DLC, but it seems very unlikely. On top of that, they're going with the whole Z at the end of Dragon Ball FighterZ, so it's kind of up in the air. But the most important part is, because it's taking place after Dragon Ball Super, technically, we're probably going to see a lot of Dragon Ball Super elements as far as Z as well. So it's still up in the air, but this is a very, very exciting part to piece out, or I guess to reveal in this actual paragraph. Then the final part, and this was kind of already talked about on Twitter, which I'm sure you guys saw, there's a new system that's been implemented into the game yet. I don't really know how it works because they really haven't revealed anything about it, but there are Dragon Balls on the screen. And it says, a new system was added to Dragon Ball FighterZ, the Bandai Namco Teased, that isn't found in any other fighting game. The only hint Game Informer was given was small details about the 7 Dragon Balls icon that appear in the game. When a player collects all 7 of them, something will happen, but they didn't say what. Now my first thought was, I think the way the Dragon Balls might actually work in the game, which by the way, the way they actually work is based on certain combos you pull off, or like specific ones, you get rewarded a ball in the middle of a fight. Now, my first theory was, well, maybe use that to unlock certain characters or certain modes or yada yada in the actual game. But then I realized, well, wait a minute. If they're teasing us as a new system that we've never seen in the game before, what if this is actually integrated in the actual fights? And then my first thought came to mind, is what if they're actually using the Super Dragon Balls to revive dead characters that are on your team? So for example, let's say I'm in a 2v3 situation where Krillin died on my team, and I collect all the Dragon Balls after doing some combos, and then Krillin comes back to life. So it's kind of like a wild card. If you pull out these crazy combos in certain situations or whatever the requirements are, it grants you a wish that brings the character back, and then kind of extends the fight. Now of course that's just a theory, I don't really know. I want to hear from you guys as well, so if you have any theories in regards to what you think the Dragon Ball system actually does, feel free to discuss down below. But I feel like it's more than just unlocking stuff, because that would just be kind of lame to teasing like this and then end up just being a glorified way to unlock characters and stuff. I don't know, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, again, Bandai is infamous for just basically giving us a lot of information that says literally next to nothing. So it's one of those things where you'll have to wait to see until we have actual gameplay that breaks down what the stuff actually does. But still, regardless, a lot of exciting information about Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I want to hear from you guys. So in the comment section below, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed. If you're excited, not excited, let's go for 3,000 likes as always. And I guess I'll talk to you guys in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed us today. My name is Rhymestyle. The second I find out more information about Dragon Ball FighterZ, I will cover it. So make sure you subscribe if you're new here, and I'll keep you guys in the loop with everything you need to know. Enjoy the rest of your night or day. My name is Rhymestyle. I'll see you guys in the comment section below. Peace.